So under our reactive emotions, there's fears, there's longings. And it takes a real commitment, a real dedication, and a courage, as Rilke puts it. He says bravely, act bravely. When they come up, instead of hating ourselves or getting completely lost, in some way to be willing to pause and sense, what's here? Can we say yes to the life that's here? There's a story that Araya, mountain dreamer, tells about her own experience. She describes teaching a day-long workshop. And she says at the end of a very long day of teaching, a woman came up to her afterwards and asked her if she could meditate on her own. She says, "Can I do this all on my own?" And Araya's response was, "Yes, I'm sure you can, although many people find it easier to establish a meditation practice with the help of a group. It's just hard to keep up the discipline on your own." And then the woman, named Isabel, said, "But what will it give me? What will I get if I do this every day?" And her tone took on a whining quality, and I'll read the rest of this. "And I felt my irritation rising as she continued, 'How fast will it work? Will I feel a difference after a week? How will I know it's working?' This is exactly the kind of thing I detested, the quest for a quick fix, the desire for guaranteed outcomes, the simple answer. Do this and you'll get that. My sons were waiting for me and I wanted to go home." I took a deep breath, looked directly at Isabel, and set my knapsack down on the floor. I tried to slow down my words, thinking that maybe if I spoke slower, I would feel more patient. "Well," I said, "meditation is more a process than a goal-oriented activity. It can help you become more aware of what is going on in and around you, and this can help reduce stress. My best advice is to try it and just be patient with yourself." I picked up my bag and started to button my coat. I really did have to leave, and I wanted to get out while I was feeling virtuous for not snapping her head off. But as I started to move away, Isabel suddenly reached out and grabbed my arm with surprising strength. "But what I want to know," she said, her voice rising in a crescendo that bordered on real panic, "is will it help me find God? If I meditate, will I have an experience of something or someone out there listening, something really with me?" A wave of desperation swept out from her through me, and I was surprised to find my eyes filled with tears. This woman wasn't looking for an easy answer or a guaranteed formula because she was lazy. She didn't want a simple plan because she was unable or unwilling to think critically about what would work. She wanted something she knew would work and work quickly because she was hanging on by her fingernails. She wanted something that would work in a week because she was afraid she simply wasn't going to make it through months or years. I put my hand gently over Isabel's where it gripped my arm. "It's okay, Isabel. We all feel desperate at times," I said. "Nobody does it by themselves. We all need help." Her hand relaxed a little beneath mine, and she started to cry. We talked for a while longer. There is no them. There's only us. When I left, I did not leave one of them. I said goodbye to one of us, a human being doing the best she can, searching for the home for which all our hearts long. We begin with the life that's here. We begin with really learning how to bring a compassionate presence to what Clarissa Estes calls the not beautiful. And as we do it, this naturally has this experience of widening the circles, and we begin to move through our life and see others, especially those we might have sensed as different, as really not okay, are those that were different and we didn't even just sense them as like me, human, vulnerable. We begin to see the vulnerability. We begin to see the goodness in others behind the mask, and that sense of separation dissolves. There's really this deep sense of, you're not other, we're in this together. So that's what arises. There's a shift in identity. Rather than the self that's the bad self or the other that's a bad other. there's a sense of presence that we all belong to, that arises because we've paused and we've said yes to the life that's here with kindness. So we'll take the last few minutes and just bring this right into the moment in our own lives. Just a very short practice. So sense this as a pause. There's an opportunity to just be a little more intimate with the life that's right here. So you begin by just noticing how it is for you right this moment. Earlier, I invited you to reflect on a time where you were emotionally caught in reactivity. You might scan and sense if there's anything right now going on in your life where you know that there's at least the potential to be in reaction, to get caught. And I wouldn't pick something that's like a 10 on the chart, more like a 5 or 6 or 3, not too strong. But something going on where you know you have the tendency to get angry or irritated or fearful or insecure. And with some curiosity, you might put yourself in the situation, just for these few moments right now, so that you're envisioning what it is that triggers you. If it's what a person's saying to you, what's going on at work, a deadline, something going on with your child, somebody in the family. Just let it be close in for a moment so you can get a little bit of a taste of that, of the dragons that begin to take shape. And feel your body. Because part of pausing and sensing, okay, so here's Mara or the dragons, and just sense the possibility of just noticing and saying, okay, I see you. I see this insecurity or this jealousy or this aggression or this fear. Let's have tea. And notice what happens if you just investigate the reactivity a little. If you start breathing and feeling it in your body, and just regarding it with a gentle attention, with the spirit of yes, which means that you're allowing it to be there, not judging it. You're just letting this life that's here be as it is. And you might sense into where the vulnerability is. What's under the reaction? Can you sense where there might be some fear or some hurt? Some longing to know that you're okay or loved? See if you can sense into the most vulnerable place within you right now. And just offer a very simple gesture of kindness. It might be a mental whisper of it's okay. Or there's a few words I like to say, which is I'm sorry and I love you. Meaning I'm sorry for the suffering and I love you. And if you'd like, you can even put your hand on your heart, which I think deepens that that communicating with our inner life, and just experiment with sending some kindness to the vulnerable place. Sensing, as Rilke said, that this is something helpless that really needs our love. This is the deepest yes that you can offer, this tender, tender presence. You might even sense, as you offer this tenderness, that quality of heart space that opens up, so that if you imagine another person in your life, you can just sense who comes up, anyone who might be having a hard time right now. Sense the capacity to really attune to the vulnerability in that person, to include that person in this gentle and tender presence, this deep yes. And then you can begin to intuit how wide the circle can be, that you can begin to move through your day and include more and more beings with this compassionate presence. We close with a very short poem by Donna Faulds. In the shared quiet, an invitation arises like a white dove lifting from a limb and taking flight. Come and live in truth. Take your place in the flow of grace. Draw aside the veil you thought would always separate your heart from love. All you ever longed for is before you in this moment, if you dare draw in a breath and whisper yes. Namaste and blessings. Thank you.